Breaking news, an immigration judge in Louisiana just allowed the Trump administration to move forward with its efforts to deport Mahmoud Khalil. He is the Columbia University graduate. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us right now with this breaking news. Camilo, you were in that courthouse when all of this went down. What can you tell us about what happened?
Hi, Mugo. A Justice Department immigration judge here in Louisiana just ruled that Mahmoud Khalil can continue to face deportation in federal immigration court by the Trump administration, which is alleging that his presence here and his activities in the U.S. pose adverse foreign policy consequences for the U.S. The judge sustained that ground of deportation and has given Khalil's lawyers until April 23rd to file any applications for relief from deportation on that legal ground. And if not, he could very well be ordered deported to Syria or Algeria, she said. She did, however, hold in abeyance that second deportation ground that was cited by the Trump administration. That was a claim by the Department of Homeland Security that Mr. Khalil engaged in immigration fraud by failing to disclose certain information in his green card application. Mahmoud Khalil is, of course, a lawful permanent resident and a green card holder, and of course was a vocal voice in those protests in Colombia last year over the war in Gaza. Mahmoud Khalil also, importantly, Mugo, shared some remarks in front of the courtroom just when it was concluding the hearing. He said that earlier in the week, that very same judge talked about due process and fundamental fairness, and he said neither of those two things were followed today.
Wow. Yeah, I will say I was kind of surprised about the outcome, but you kind of mentioned this earlier, and I want to circle back to it. Do we know what comes next in this case? You said his legal team has up until a point in April. Can you repeat that for us, please?
Sure. So the immigration judge here outside of this detention facility has given Khalil's lawyers until April 23rd to file any application for relief from deportation to Syria or Algeria. That could come in the form of asylum or a waiver on these deportation grounds. And so they have a couple of days now, about a week, to file that application if one indeed exists. And she paused the case over the second deportation ground, which was again an allegation by the DHS that Mr. Khalil engaged in immigration fraud.
And Camilo, I know you were in that courtroom, so do you know what Mahmoud Khalil's mood was when that judgment was reached? Did he say anything else, do anything else? Any bodily reaction that you happened to see in the courthouse when that judgment was read?
I mean, Mugo, he stood silently during this entire hearing. It lasted for more than an hour. At some instances, he was smirking or smiling at some of the comments that the DHS lawyer was making to argue that Mr. Khalil should be deported. And at the end, in addition to making the comments about this proceeding lacking due process and, quote, fundamental fairness, unquote, he also urged the judge to exercise, quote, the same urgency in this case in other cases of migrants detained in this facility behind me.
Okay, Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you so much for your reporting. We appreciate it.